What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is going to be another album review for another 2021 release. And I'm going to be talking about a particular album that a musician from this band messaged me, contacted me on Skype, and requested me to review this band's first album, and he is one of the members. So I would like to say thank you very much for your time to contact me and for me to review this album. And this is from a band called Radarna, entitled the Fomorian Horde. Now, if you are into the genre of metal and as well as folk metal, these guys are from Sweden, and this is their very first output of these new songs, and the dedication and the passion is all here, right from the start to the finish. This is going to be something very big for the band, because I think with this record, if you love folk metal like myself, then this album will definitely be in your to listen to list, because I do love folk metal myself, involving a lot on the household names of Fintroll to Corbiklani and some Interferum and other names. But I think with a band like Radarna, these guys are definitely deserving so much more onto the attention and the comments that the band needs, because I think with this album, the high inspiration of folk metal from the start to the finish of this album, musically and lyrically, and not only that, the whole work of this is very, very high, up to the max. I think this album alone here, for a debut album, is a very good listening approach. And I'll have to say that a lot of these things onto the album, musically, performance-wise and production-wise, there's a lot of really good, very neat stuff on here. Musically, there are lots of these moments where there's some really good guitar riffs. Some of the riffs can be at a heavy sound, some very simple, effective driving riffs, as well as the rest of the instruments that stands out as much onto hearing sounds of some keyboards to accordion, a bit of jazz guitar, to some sounds onto the vocal performances that were in different ranges. The vocals are one of the great things about the album as well, because with the vocal distortion, they can be pretty gnarly and hateful sounding, but not only that, the clean vocals are one of the best parts onto the album, and as well as the instrumentation itself. There are some numerous spots where it can be very catchy, to something vicious and violent sounding when it comes to the descending parts onto the heavy atmosphere that the album provides, especially onto tracks like The Horse of Banshee, to the title track, but also onto one of the favourable tracks for me, which is onto the song of the Woodwose song. Basically on this particular track, the vocals on this one can be very melodic, and I do like the connection onto the growing passage of the heaviness and as well as its structure. The only thing that I will say onto this track, it does get dramatic, and as well as onto another track of the Spirit of Lyerg, which is a very, very good track onto its distorting and big delivery. And as well as the performances goes, this one is pretty much massive beyond pain, which maybe is my favourite song on the album. This is the only one on here, out of all of the tracks, that it's the most prominent and consistent one musically onto folky acoustic vibe. I love this track, and as well as not only on the vocal performances, but this track does provide some really good cinematic vocal chanting style of performances, which I love a lot onto the aspect of folk metal, not only onto the heavy riffs to the monstrous big connection of musicianships where everything is all very tight and memorable and as well as melodic, but with sounds like these. The production, it's all very well mixed and balanced, and I believe that this was self-recorded and self-produced as well, which I give the band so much respect even more. And this album, for 9 tracks at, I believe, at 40 plus or around 40 minutes in length, this is definitely worth of your time to listen to this album. And I will also provide the band's Bandcamp link in the description below, so that you will not be missing out on this whatsoever. That's all I would like to personally say and review this album for Radarna. With this album, the Fomorian Horde, for a folk metal dedicated and passionate album, definitely check this one out for yourselves, guys, and please don't miss this one. If you have listened to this album, let me know what you think of this album in the comments down below. And once again, a big thank you to one of the members for messaging me and to recommend this album for me to talk about it, because I am happy to do this for the band, and as well as to keep the whole aspect of loving folk metal and metal in the first place, and as well as for anybody. For an album like this was very crafty onto the songwriting and, you know, just the whole vibe of loving metal music like this. So I'm going to give this album a very solid 8 out of 10. A big well done to the band. So thank you guys for watching. And also, as always, I will keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.